What's up, Mr. Kevin Joseph? How you doing? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. What's up, Daphne? How you doing? How y'all doing today? Y'all are rolling on in here. Happy Sunday, y'all. Listen, I don't know why these. What's up, Vish? I don't know why these days have been feeling so very off. Not off in a bad way, but it just is giving me holiday vibes. I don't know if anybody else, yeah, I don't know if anybody else feels that way. These days are giving me holiday vibes. Like it seems like it's an actual holiday. What's up, Mrs. Etna? God is about to bring you out. It's going to be our declaration. Come on, Visha, listen. Bath and Body Works had like a $3 soap sale. Sis, you cannot know. I went in there and got me some Christmas soap and Christmas little fragrances. I said, God, listen, I'm here for it. I am, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Come on. I want y'all to make that declarational personal. I really had not planned to go live. It was just one of those mornings. Not a bad morning. It's been a productive morning, but it was been one of those mornings where, my heart just began to kind of grieve the coming of what God has spoken, some things that God has spoken over my life. And I understand where the trigger was from. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit. Listen, God's about to do it. God is about to bring you out. So yesterday was a day where, Thanksgiving is this coming weekend. Typically on Thanksgiving, well, you guys know I'm not too very close to my mother, my sister, and of course my nephew. I'm gonna just flow. And so they don't really do much on holidays. My sister does. My mother just kind of does whatever. But for the past few years, we've held Thanksgiving at my house where I just cook, invite my mom and my aunt, and let that be it. Well, yesterday something very strange happened. Y'all got time for me to flow this morning? Something strange happened yesterday. I had to call my mom, and let me just tell y'all how the devil works. It reminded me of what he tried to do through my mother on my birthday. Now, for the past few years, at least since I've been here, I've done Thanksgiving dinner. The past 3 years, I've done Thanksgiving at my home, with the exception of, I want to say it was last year. My mother had it at her house. So I called my mother because I was asking her about how, meals y'all to cook at Camel, meals, cooking, like leaf vegetables. Not my forte. Apostle T is having to. I promise y'all I'm about to go somewhere. So I called her and I was asking her about Thanksgiving. And the devil spoke through her in such a way where now it had been a good day. But she said, we don't do nothing on Thanksgiving. And I was like, we've literally had Thanksgiving at my house for the past 3 years. And, I told her, I said, do you not remember? I invite you and your sister to my house. Now, give me one of y'all are following along. Blessings, see, girl. Blessings, 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 Andrea. Now, this is where it gets very demonic because I didn't realize, I kind of saw it, but it triggered me, her not acknowledging what I typically do. I guess what has become a tradition. It triggered me. And so, sometimes when we are triggered, we want to explain. I'm like, I know. She then began, first she says, well, I can still come to your house. I was cool with that. Then she says, But you're not going to invite, you know, this is where I noticed it got real demonic and I got off the phone. She said, but you're not going to invite my sister. She said her name. And I said, why would I not invite her? She said, well, what about her son? It's been demonic. It's just don't worry, said, and I hung up the phone because I wasn't going to entertain it. I wasn't going to be filled with hatred, or some people are, you know, the type of people where if they don't like somebody, they expect for you to feel the same way. I've never been that type because everybody has a side to a story of what happened between two people. So I just try to stay out of it and let God lead. But anyway, I was a little bit bothered, right? And I was bothered by it because it made me feel like, man, it triggered feelings of loneliness. Like now I'm going to be alone on the holiday, right? And so I woke up this morning feeling a little bit blue about that. Maybe I don't have some of you guys that understand that. I woke up this morning, even though that was something minor that happened, it triggered something else. It triggered me to feel like I'm still in a previous season. And so this morning, I'm gonna just be real. I was talking to God and God said, you need to release this word. And I got a little bit upset with God, like, God, you never just let me have my devotion time with you and da 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 da. And he pretty much told me, I'm keeping you from getting into a rut. Now share the revelation. And so I just shut my mouth and I went live. But as I was walking, because there are some moments where you feel overwhelmed, or when you feel triggered, sometimes you just need to get out of the house, get out of whatever environment you are in, so that you can get a fresh perspective. But I was real sad about that. Be alone and what am I going to do? And da 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 this. And my mind started to think about the wilderness, like, God, pretty much for the past 7, 8 years, right? I've been in this season, blessings to you, Sabrina, of loneliness, right? Where people are around, but they're not around, if that makes sense. And the Lord spoke these words as I began my walk. He said, I'm bringing you out of that season. And he said, there are many people that tune into your broadcast, child, that feel that same way. Maybe it's not the same exact thing with family and holidays. Maybe it's financial for them. Maybe it's healing wise, and you just feel like, God, I've just been stuck in this season. Maybe it's with living arrangements, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's dysfunction in your family. But he said there are some people that watch you where you're not alone and feeling like, God, you know, you start thinking about how long you've been battling with something. And you just get sad. Give me a one if you can say, Apostle, that's been me. And even though you know that God, you're doing things, I'm beginning to see evidence of my season shifted. For many people, we all have that sore spot, right? We all have that sore spot where you kind of just, try not to think about it, to mourn some thoughts, that part of your life. And so a lot of times when we have those sore spots, we don't want to talk to God about it. We try our best to busy ourselves up to not think about the financial struggle that we've been battling with for X amount of years. We try our best not to think about the family dysfunction, because some of us actually do desire family. We actually do desire closeness of family. But when we look at our family, when we look at our bloodlines, all we see are demons. Okay, that just went right over somebody's head. Now we got to talk about this, especially the dysfunction part, because we're entering into the holidays, and how many people know that depression rates, anxiety rates, suicide rates tend to spike towards, periods of time where the world is enjoying. But the Lord said, you know, for some of my children with those sore spots, like they try their best not to think about it. Tell them, I'm bringing them out of that place. Hear me. He said, tell them. I'm bringing them out when God does what he wants to do. But specifically this morning, the Lord is dealing with our sore spots. Maybe you've been in a place of transiency. Maybe you've been in the wilderness in a certain area of your life. Maybe it hurts you to even think about some of the things you've been praying for, and instead of receiving the answered prayer, you get you get a storm, you get a trial, right? You get a tribulation. God says, tell them, I'm bringing them out. And again, it's different for everybody. And honestly, it may not just be just one area that's a sore spot. Some of us have many areas that are sore spots, right? God says, tell them, I'm healing that sore spot. And what happens when we have sore spots, I feel led to say this. What happens when we have sore spots, hear me now, it's kind of like a wound. Let's just say you scratch your arm, scratch your knee, you're wounded, right? And so what happens is, people tell you, let it get air. But sometimes we'll cover it with a Band-Aid, right? And then eventually as time goes on, that wound begins to develop a scab, right? And it may start to itch some, which is just your body healing itself. Am I making sense? Give me a one for making sense. But a lot of times, what'll happen if you itching so bad and, you just get to a place where you like, forget this scab. So many people would come on, I'm going somewhere. They'll scratch that scab and it'll come off. Now the process somewhat has to start over. Now you've prolonged the healing process. Do y'all not know we do the same thing? The same thing happens to us in our processes. We go through things that are tough, things that are traumatic, right? And we develop these sore spots where it's real easy for us to get triggered. It's real easy for those areas to get re-wounded. And so what happens in the process is the enemy hits a sore spot, and so now we got to deal with those feelings and work our way back into a place where we can function in life, right? And so what God is saying is, I'm allowing those sore spots to heal now. Come on. I'm allowing those sore spots to heal now. And as I bring you out of that place, come on, of dealing with that sore spot, the Lord says, it'll be as if it never happened. Because if you think about it, like when when a wound on your body develops a scab and you actually let it heal, what's happening underneath that scab is your skin is regenerating, right? And so eventually, it falls off and it's as if you never had a scratch. It's as if you never got wounded. But I believe that in this season, as we're entering into a space where God is providing evidence, right? Evidence of the promises. The Lord says it also comes with a restoration. And a part of restoration looks like healing. I'm going to say that again. As we've entered into a time and season for the rest of this year, over into next year, hear me now. God is saying, I'm backing up my promises with evidence. Like you ain't just going to be standing on words now. You're about to be living in the evidence of what I've spoken. But the Lord says, as that happens, y'all got to hear me. As that happens, God says, I'm restoring you to a place where it's as if you never dealt with what you've been dealing with. And if many of us can be real, some of us have been battling with these sore spots for so long that even when those sore spots are triggered, it triggers us even more because we feel like, God, I shouldn't still be feeling this way. I still shouldn't be feeling this way, about my business. I still shouldn't be feeling this way about my family. I still shouldn't be feeling this way about living arrangements, about a vehicle. Come on, somebody. I still shouldn't be feeling this way. And so, what we tend to do is we soak even more because now we're condemning ourselves, which is what the enemy wants us to do. And the thing about self-condemnation is that it always makes you feel depressed. It don't make you feel no better. It don't make you feel hopeful. It doesn't make you want to believe God. It makes you want to give up. It makes you feel like, God, I'm too far away from where I feel I should be. So I might as well throw in the towel. But in this season of our lives, God is healing those sore spots. Now, here's the thing about him bringing us out of the place of being triggered by sore spots. And sore spots, honestly, are things that we've had to deal with or learn to live with for a while. Whether it is financial lack, whether it is low self-esteem, my God. Whether it is, validation issues, rejection issues, abandonment issues, whether it is whatever the case may be. As he brings us out of having to live with those things and learn to function in life, we've been functioning as unhealed people, which is why many of us get triggered at what seems to be our times. But he says, as I bring you out, for some people, that restoration may not look like reconnection. He says, I need to say that again. That restoration, it may not look like restoration in this season. And he's not talking financial, he's talking about people. He says, I need to say that again. Right? That restoration may not look like reconnection, even though God knows that, God, I would love for my family to be under one accord. We have free will. And God knows that there are some people, especially people in our bloodline, that are just unwilling to heal. They don't want to grow. They don't want to be delivered. They like the dysfunction. They like being plagued by demons. And that's just the reality of it. But a lot of times when God restores what was broken, it comes with something new. Whether that looks like whether that looks like God giving you people that can love you, value you, right? That are good for you. Whether it looks like, right, a brand new vehicle, not the one that you want to pay off. Whether it looks like, a brand new home instead of what you thought you were going to get. But we got to be receptive to that. And I understood that when God was breaking that down to me, that what he was saying about like my mother and my family, he was letting me know, child, it's for your good. It's for your good. I know it makes you sad, right? That she has to be that way. But it's really for your good. It's for your good that you not reconnect to that. It's for your good that there's a little bit of space and separation in that. I wish I had somebody to understand that some of the things happening in your life, God not restoring certain things in your life, baby, it is for your good. God has really also been dealing with me about that's really being receptive. Being receptive to God literally will either usher us into the blessings that He has for us, into all the promises that He has for us, or if we're not receptive, it stalls us being able to receive what we're believing God for. I say that to say, God is saying, just be open to how I'm bringing you out. Just be open to how I'm healing you. And I still believe that even, as we're ending this year and right, beginning to enter into a brand new year, I still believe, hear me now, I still believe that God is exposing. And He's not just exposing people, but I believe a part of us embracing the new thing that God is doing, He has to expose what no longer serves us, who no longer serves us, right? Hear me now. Hear me now. So I believe even in the coming weeks, God is going to be showing you people that you've been trying to make it work with, right? You've been tolerating the dysfunction, tolerating their sin, tolerating their jealousy, their snide remarks, their pettiness, because of the desires in your heart to be one with them. Whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's relational. And God is saying, I've given them long enough. I've given you long enough to see that at this point it's a choice for certain people to be the way that they want to be the way that they are. And a lot of times it ain't, I don't know why He has me talking about this. A lot of times it ain't that they don't know how to do right by you. It ain't that they don't know how to rightly let things be peaceful. But the jealousy and those demons that live within them, y'all got to hear me, tempt them to such a degree where it's almost pleasurable arguing with you. It becomes almost pleasurable for them to try and get you to do what they want you to do. It becomes pleasurable. Certain people are going to have to be let go in this hour. Even when it revolves around, I got to stay there. I got to stay there. And all that God is saying with that is be receptive. I knew yesterday that what happened with my mom, God was showing me, I know that you love your mother. I've given you a long time to see that it's a choice for her to be this way. She chooses to be this way. But if you're going to soar, child, you're going to have to let go of this idea, right, that she can be saved. Because the issue for some people, it's not that, it's not that God can't save them. They don't want to be saved. Who? He says, I can say it again. For many of the people that God is exposing, it ain't that God can't save them. They don't want to be saved. They don't want to be set free. They don't want to be at peace. They don't want to. But God is saying no in this hour, because we're in a season where he's blessing us and we're going to see evidence of miracles, signs, and wonders. He's saying, no longer will I let you be tormented by that. No longer will I let you carry the weight of that burden. No longer. Even in other areas, right, of God exposing. For some of y'all, you're going to start seeing shifts in your work environment. Where maybe where you work at now, or work that past tense, maybe it was good for a season. But let's be real. Some of us are believing God for big, bold things. We don't just want the bare, can I just flow? We don't just want the bare minimum. But honestly, in this season, over the next coming weeks, God is going to be dealing with some of you guys about going higher. He's going to be exposing that, hey, your season here has ended. Yeah, this was good for a season. It was meant to sustain you in the previous season. But God is saying that for what I want to do for you, for the things that you've asked me for, you're going to have to start seeing that this ain't going to get you there. Let's be real. That job ain't going to get you that brand new car. Let's be real. It ain't been working. That job doesn't provide enough. I got to talk like this to give you that house that you say you want. You say that you're tired of being broke. Come on, God is saying, now I have to expose. This was it. This was the thing that was hindering you. And for many of these people that God is going to be exposing that where you're currently employed is no longer fit, He been showing you. He been showing you. But the thing is, many of us, we get complacent. We get comfortable. And for some of y'all, it ain't that you can't move up on the job. It's that you've been blocked by people. Ooh. Are y'all catching on to this? For some of y'all, you've been blocked by people from moving up. Whether it looks like management, you've been blocked by people. And God is saying, I gave that employer the opportunity to value you. I gave them the opportunity. But as they've chosen, come on, to block you, I must now remove you. There's a divine redirection that is taking place. God is clearing our paths. For some of y'all, you're about to relocate to another region. God says, I need to say that again. For some of y'all, you're about to, my God, relocate to another region. It may be another state for some of y'all. And the reason is the region that you're in, the principalities that reside there, they have blocked you from advancing. Right? And for many people that God may deal with you about relocating to another state, a lot of it revolves around your comfort. Your comfort. Some of y'all want to stay where you are because of people. Well, God, my family here. I want to stay close to my family. I want to stay close to my friends. But I'm telling y'all, as God begins to expose who's around you, it's going to be so easy for some of y'all to say, I'm out. I'm out. And I know that I'm talking to several people. You haven't wanted to relocate because of the comfort of people that don't value you. And God is saying, no longer will you be stuck. And I know a lot of times when we hear say stuff like that, like our minds immediately like start thinking about that God is just going to bless us right where we are. But in this hour, God is saying, no, I need you to come up higher. And honestly, if we can be real, when God begins to expose some of these people, ask yourself, what value did they really add to my life? Because most of the people that God is exposing, they were leeches. Sometimes distracting you from your purpose, giving you unwise advice. It wasn't solid at all. Their advice, in fact, for some people was rooted in seeing you fail. Rooted in you not having more than them. It was rooted in pure hatred. And that was one thing that I realized as it happened with my mom, right? And when you really think about it, it makes it easier to let go. Say, Lord, it's always chaotic with her. It can be good for 5 minutes and she gonna start trying to argue, right? She gonna try to give me advice that makes me, she's tried to give me advice in the past that makes me throw away with the vision that God has given me. Put me against my sister, me against my nephew. Again, God, advice that makes you hopeless, man. And I'm telling y'all, as we're just willing to just let go and trust God, whew, as we're just willing to let go and trust God, we're going to find our place on levels that our eyes have never seen, occupying places that we've never seen, holding blessings that we never could have gotten in those places with those people that we were comfortable around. I believe that in this hour, as we embrace the new thing that God is doing, it requires us to let go. Now, here's another part of, the letting go. Y'all following along with me? A lot of times, at the end of the year, people wait until the end of the year. This is why it's so important that we do this now. Towards the end of the year, new year, people be like, New Year resolutions, writing the vision for next year. They wait until the end of the year to let go of habits, people, things within themselves. Y'all gotta hear me. That they know are not suiting them. That they know are not getting them closer to where they want to be. They wait until, how foolish is that? Do y'all know that's the most foolish junk I ever heard of? You can know that something is not good, know that something is not getting you, or a person is not getting you to the place that God has promised you, but you wait until the end of the year to let it go? Now, true enough, many of us have been in seasons, right? That's not you, though. Many of us have been in seasons. Hear me now. And let me go back. So in essence, when people say, I'm going to wait till the end of the year to let go of all this stuff that I know ain't good for me, what they're expecting is to enter into the new year with miracles, signs, and wonders. All right. That's what they're expecting. I'm going to enter into this year. I'm going to be blessed. No, you're not, because you delayed what you needed to do. The blessings are going to be delayed. Right? I believe that for many people, even now, God is dealing with your heart about things and people. But God has given us the opportunity. But what I was going to say is many of us have been in seasons where we've had no choice but to put up with certain people, certain circumstances, certain things. God was doing something in those seasons. We weren't in those seasons foolishly, right? It was something that God needed for us to get in those seasons of dealing with certain people, being at certain places. But the Lord says, you've learned what you needed to learn. Now you must be willing to let go so that you can soar. Even now, he's reminding me of like athletes, right? He's reminding me of athletes. You guys know that track athletes, when they're trying to, gain speed, even football players do this, gain speed, gain endurance, they will sometimes train with like a parachute. Give me a one if y'all have seen athletes running with a parachute on. Give me a one if y'all have seen, whether it's on TV, whether you've seen it at a school, athletes training, running with a parachute on. Right? Now I'm gonna be real. Years ago, I really didn't know why they were doing that. Until one day, God had me sit down and study exactly what they were doing, right? So the athletes they come on, I'm about to go somewhere with this. They intentionally put on something, an apparatus that's going to slow them down. I'm going to say it again. They intentionally put on an apparatus, aka a parachute, that is going to slow them down and make it harder for them to run. They do it so that they can train their muscles to be faster without it. Okay, somebody didn't catch on to that. Athletes, they intentionally, right, put on something that makes it harder for them to do what they need to do on the field, on the court. The same way that God intentionally puts us in seasons, right? That make it harder for us to be who He's called us to be. Seasons that make it, y'all got to catch this, seasons, right? That make it harder. All right. Okay. God intentionally puts us through hard things because He knows that once we come out of those seasons, we'll be able to soar to newer heights. So an athlete they intentionally put on something that makes it harder, the same way that God intentionally puts us in seasons that are hard to come out of. Because the athlete knows, if I train with this parachute enough, baby, I'm gonna be untouchable. They ain't gonna be able to catch me. And listen, they ain't gonna really be able to knock me down on this football field. Because the parachute is not only making my muscles stronger, but it's making my muscle fibers a little bit faster. It's making them operate a little bit different. Come on, pressure bust pipes. So what God is simply saying in this hour is, yeah, I intentionally put you in that season where you had to deal with that circumstance. You had to deal with that job. You had to deal, come on, with that person. You had to. I'm going to say it again. Yeah, God is saying, I intentionally put you in that season where there were some things you had no choice but to live with your family. You had no choice but, come on, but to be at their mercy. You had no choice but to be at that job. You had no choice but to go through that. But God is saying, it's time to take the parachute off. My God. It's time to take the parachute off because it's time to soar, baby. It's time to, come on, it's time to really get what rightfully belongs to you. The last season was a struggle because I made it a struggle. I needed it to be a struggle. God is saying, I was training your faith. I need somebody to type that in. Take the parachute off. Because if you hold to it, it's going to weigh you down. It's going to prevent you from getting what I want to do for you. It's going to prevent you from soaring. Take it off. No, don't be like the rest of the world. Don't wait until the end of the year to want to take off the weights. Take them off now. Take them off now so that you can receive what you've really been waiting for. Take them off. Meaning let it go. Let go of what you need to let go of. Let go of who you need to let go of. So that you can get what God has promised you. Listen, that is the broadcast. Yeah, that's the broadcast. It's the broadcast. That's it. If this has blessed you, if you know that God was talking to you today, can you just give him some praise? Can you just tell Abba, thank you? Can you just tell him thank you? Can you just tell him thank you? Because he's a good father. I said he's a good father. Yeah, he's a good father. He's saying, I'm not trying to let you struggle past the expiration date. Can somebody's hashtag, the struggle is over. The struggle, your struggle with people, your struggle with finances, your struggle with people holding you back, your struggle is over. And you're about to see the evidence of it, says God. Whew. You're about to see the evidence of it. You're about to see the evidence of it. Struggle is over. Come on. The struggle is over. Whatever your struggle was in that previous season, it's over. No longer will you be held back. No longer will you be weighed down. No longer will you be mishandled. No longer will you be, come on, disrespected. No longer will you have to deal with people. Come on. They don't put in what you put in. No longer. Your struggle is over. That's the broadcast, man. Listen. Some of y'all need to sow. Some of y'all need to sow. Sabrina, you need to sow seed into this word. Mr. Kevin Joseph, you need to sow seed into this word. And the seed title is going to be, the struggle is over. Some of y'all need to put $100 seed in the ground. Some of y'all may be like, nah, I can't do 100, Apostle, but I can do 50. Some of y'all may be able to do 20. 100 is what I hear for you, Sabrina. I don't know why I hear that. I hear it so strongly. And the seed title, God is bringing me out. Better yet, God has brought me out. I'm telling y'all, we're about to see evidence. God has brought you out. So listen, if you know you need to sow, and somebody on here needs to sow 700, I don't even know who you are. I don't know who you are, but you're watching now. That's it. That's it. Kanema, you need to sow. God has brought me out. I don't know about y'all, but I'm claiming that. I'm claiming that. The links are $Thoughts by T for Cash App, PayPal.me/Thoughts by T for PayPal. I love y'all, man. I'm rooting for y'all. If you know you need to sow, do not delay it. Don't delay it. Do not delay it. I'm going to say that again. If you know that you need to sow, do not delay it. Because the devil going to be like, well, you can do it later. You can do it here. You can do it. Take time to do it now. It only takes a second. So listen, I love y'all. I'm rooting for y'all. And so, till next time, y'all.